Today we have Rebecca Barrett, who is a board member for the Contra Costa Community College, and Mojda, who is the super awesome chancellor that we are all lucky to have over all of the community college set here, to talk about what they have on the ballot and where the future of the college is going. So I will let them really dive into what they have on the ballot and have fun. And we'll ask questions at the end. So think about your questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Jared. I appreciate that. And Naz, do we have the slideshow ready?
Yes, I am going to share my screen.
Perfect.
Let's see. Can you all see the presentation slide deck?
Yes, I can.
Excellent.
Perfect.
All yours,
Okay.
Rusty.
All right. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Rebecca Barrett. I'm one of the five governing board members for the Contra Costa Community College District. If we can go over to the next slide. What we're going to be discussing with you here today is a history of the Contra Costa Community College District. We recently celebrated our 75th anniversary. Some quick facts about the district, a review of our bond history. Inez, can we go back really quick? I'm sorry.
Yes. Sorry about that.
And then Inez is going to talk us through. We're, I will say, one of my points of pride for the district is we are very thoughtful and deliberate in creating plans and then actually executing on those plans. So we have a capital plan, and our bond is really tied in with all of the work that we did on all three colleges and all five sites to really look holistically at our infrastructure needs. And then we'll take your questions. So our next slide is some of that history. So we were created in 1948. We are the first county-wide, at the time it was called junior colleges. We now talk about ourselves in a community college aspect. We were the first county-wide district in the state. And at the time, I always think this is important to remember, the county population was just under a quarter of a million, so 249,000. Obviously, the county has drastically changed in our over 75-year history. You probably all know we have three main college campuses, Contra Costa College being our first that was created. That's in the city of San Pablo, serving geographically the West County region. We have Diablo Valley College located in Pleasant Hill with a satellite campus in San Ramon, serving geographically more of the Central County area, and then Los Medanos College, which is located in Pittsburgh. And then we have our Brentwood campus, really serving that East County community in Contra Costa. We currently have around 50,000, nearly 50,000 students who annually attend one of our college campuses or enrolled in our online courses. And we are one of the major employers in Contra Costa. I believe we're third, last I looked at the data, of employing nearly 3,400 people in Contra Costa County. And we can go to the next slide. So our California community college system, it's a really special thing that we have in California. We used to be part of what was known as a K through 14 system. Now the community college system is very distinct and separate from our K-12 partners. The system as a whole serves just over 2 million students. And we are the largest of the higher education institutions by far. We have by far more students in the UC system. We have by far more students in the CSU system. And then our system really is, we have to be a little bit of everything to everyone. I always like to ask folks this when I'm talking to them about the community college system. Can you guess the average age of any of our students at the Contra Costa Community College District? Oh, Jared, you got your hand up.
24.
No.
Was it 28? Did I get it backwards?
Yeah. I
28.
think it's 29 now. It was 28 when I first started on the board. We've actually gotten a year older. Um, and so those students come to us with 29-year-old responsibilities and problems. And so I think when people traditionally think of community college students, usually they think of like someone who just graduated high school, they're still living at home with their parents, and they have that level of infrastructure and support. But as I said, the average student is 29 years old. They're not living with their parents. Oftentimes they come to us as parents. Um, and so just to briefly go through what the category of students are, we have dual enrolled and concurrent enrolled students with the K through 12 system. And so we can have students as young as middle schoolers in community college courses. We have the transfer to four-year college universities. So really that bucket of students who we more actively think of, they just graduated from high school, they're starting their higher education journey. We do tend to see a boomerang effect of they come to us right after high school, but maybe get their first job where they're making a little bit of money and they're 18, 19 years old and they step away from higher ed. Maybe they don't know fully where they want to go in their career. And that's why our average age is 29. They come back to us in their late 20s when they kind of get the sense of if you want to go higher in your career, you really do need that degree. We do a lot of work with reentry adults, often working single parents if you need to reskill or upskill. There's vocational training, so our nursing program, our EMT services, our P-Tech program at Los Medanos, any type of career exploration, and then our lifelong learning. A lot of our campuses are actually located near senior living facilities, and so we also see on campus a senior community that comes in. They want to learn about constitutional law. They want to learn about philosophy. They want to learn second, third language. Community colleges are a great place to continue that lifelong learning. And as we go to the next slide. So our governing board, we're governed by 5 elected governing board members, and we have a rotating student trustee that rotates throughout. Each college gets a turn every 3 years. Trustee John Marquez serving Ward 1, which is primarily West Contra Costa. Trustee Diana Honig in Ward 2, which is primarily La Miranda, Walnut Creek, and then uses the Alhambra Hills to get over a little bit over to West County. I serve in Ward 3, which is Clayton, Concord, about 2/3 of Pleasant Hill and 2/3 of Martinez. Fernando Sandoval in the east, with Pittsburgh, Oakley, Brentwood, Antioch, and Andy Lee in South County with San Ramon, Danville, and then wraps around Mount Diablo. Sophie is our student trustee. She's a Contra Costa College. She is in our what we call middle college program. And so she is dual enrolled at both West Contra Costa Unified School District and fully enrolled at the Contra Costa Community College District. She will actually be walking across the stage accepting her AA degree a day before she'll walk across the stage to accept her high school diploma. And we are very excited for what comes next for her. Next slide. Okay, now I'm going to pass this over to Mojda. Mojda, if you'd like to introduce the 4CD team. Again, we have a lot of really great voices on the call. And then you're going to handle the next portion of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Good morning, everyone. Just a pleasure to be here before you. Again, my name is Mojda Medizada. I serve as Chancellor to the Contra Costa Community College District. I know many of you well, so I'm not going to describe my kind of history and such. It's lovely to be in a place and space with so many wonderful connections. Just a reminder, on the Zoom with us today, we have Inez Ziltzik. She's going to do the next portion of the presentation. She is our Vice Chancellor of Facilities Planning, and we'll share a little bit more with you about our bond. We have Dr. Micaela Ochoa, who is joining us this morning. Micaela serves as our Executive Vice Chancellor for Administrative Services. We have Dr. Tony Wold, who is our Chief Financial Officer, and of course, Jennifer Ortega, who serves as our Director of Communications and Community Relations. So I wanted to ensure you recognize that we have a team here with us to answer any and all questions that you may have as a follow-up to this presentation. So a little bit more about us. The district vision, mission, and values are articulated here for you. We just went through a process with considerable community input in order to update our district strategic plan. and are really, really proud of the work that we do in supporting, as you heard from Trustee Barrett, literally all learners within Contra Costa County and a little bit beyond. Next slide, please. So our strategic plan focuses on 4 major goal areas. And as we think about our upcoming bond, I'd really like to focus on 2 of those strategic goals that we have before us today. So you'll notice that goal number 3 talks about embedding future readiness and adaptability. And really, when we think about artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies that are rapidly reshaping the landscape of higher education and the future of work, these advancements really transform how our students are learning, how educators are teaching, and the skills that are required for careers of today and tomorrow. And when we really think about this sort of rapid evolution, we know that it demands higher education to also adapt swiftly and to prepare students for a workforce that's shaped by automation, by data, by digital systems. And in addition, obviously, to those technical competencies that we're aware of, we also know that our students need really strong critical thinking skills. We know that they need ethical reasoning skills. We know that they need digital citizenship skills. And really all of those coupled together are what is important for our future as we navigate a complex digital environment, hopefully in the most successful manner. This really aligns with our facilities plans. So Rebecca shared with you, yes, we are really mindful and thoughtful about developing plans and carrying them forward. When we think about our facilities plans, implementing planning and design strategies that really create those flexible technology, what we call technology integrated learning environments that really optimize and stimulate the real world challenges that are necessary for our community members. Goal number 4, and Inez is whipping through this real fast. I'm almost there, Inez. Goal number 4 talks about us being a district that responsibly, proactively, and sustainably stewards our resources. We really take pride in that. We are a district. We are a community college district, and we are members of this community. I live here in Contra Costa County. We prioritize fiscal prudence, recognizing that that really our connection to our communities is what builds student success and the institutional resilience that we need. So really, really mindful about that as well when we think about going out and asking our taxpayers for funds, as we are doing related to this bond. Next slide, please. So we are everything to everyone. Rebecca shared that with you already. We, across our 3 colleges and centers, we offer over 220 associate degrees and certificates. We transfer students to the UC, CSUs, and beyond, and we do it in so many different ways because, again, our learners are middle school students all the way through those that are retraining or just building up life skills. And so really, when we think about what we offer, it's everything from automotive technologies, which have evolved considerably over the years, to nursing, from architecture to business entrepreneurship, from horticulture to special education, drone technology, wastewater management, so much more. And we're really proud of that this series of offerings that we provide to our community. Next slide, please. So just a few of the partnerships that we have with industry and workforce boards. So Diablo Valley College, an incredibly strong partnership with Tesla through the robotics program. Most recently, we built a partnership with the San Ramon Valley Fire Protection District. They have a gorgeous new training facility in San Ramon, and both Contra Costa College and Los Medanos College, so East and West, had programs that relate to the EMT and fire sciences area. We didn't have anything in Central County, and now with our partnership with San Ramon, we're able to really leverage those sister campuses and bring classes and opportunities to our communities in Central Contra Costa County. Of course, we also have really great partnerships with our folks locally, Martinez Refining Company, Marathon. When we think about our process technology and electrical and instrumentation technology program at Los Medanos College, those partnerships are deeply important and impactful. And most recently, we've been in conversations with Avio. They are building a relatively robust data center right here in the city of Pittsburgh. And training is key, and we are working with them and ensuring that we have opportunities for our local workforce as it relates to building up the Avio data center and managing it into perpetuity. And of course, when we talk about AI is really integrated in every discipline. And we need to ensure that we are thoughtful and mindful, again, as we think about the current status of the workforce and moving into the future. Next slide, please. And students come to us because they also want to transfer to four-year institutions. You can see, as we articulate here, 51% of CSU grads and 29% of UC graduates started at a community college. You're looking at two of them right now between Rebecca and I. We both are alums of our college right here, Diablo Valley College. I went on to a CSU and Rebecca went on to a UC. So we are a product of the community college system. And you can see some of our major transfer partners are identified here on this slide. Next slide, please. In the year 2023, actually, the report came out in fall of 24, but it was based on 22-23 data. We had an economic impact analysis that was done on our behalf. Lightcast, a company that does economic modeling across the nation and beyond, actually conducted this study for us. And you can see that our district is a major economic engine right here in Contra Costa County. We support about 24,000 local jobs, and that's about one in every 25 jobs here in Contra Costa County. And this is as a result of the economic activity that we inject, that $2.3 billion into the economy annually. You also see the return on investment there. The study revealed that for every dollar students invest in the Contra Costa Community College District in the form of out-of-pocket expenses and foregone time and money, they receive a cumulative value of $8.40 in higher future earnings. That's quite a return on that investment. We also show that taxpayers, we double our money, and the society gains are huge, as you can see at $14.40. Next slide, please. And we do this for so little. So you can see the prior 3 years of trends in terms of what the state funding is for UC CSUs, our K-12 partners, and us. We are at the very bottom, as you can see. We've made slight gains over the last few years, but you can see that, again, in terms of funding, we are at the lowest, and we serve the broadest range of individuals across our communities. That funding supports instruction and student support services. You heard that we are over 75 years old. It does not support our infrastructure and building needs and building system needs, unfortunately. Next slide, please. And we do this all, we We really do this still with that notion of strong fiscal stewardship. You can see what our annual budget is. We are required, our board is required to maintain at least 2 months of operating expenses in reserves, and they do so in a very, very thoughtful manner. You can also see that we have an irrevocable trust for our other post-employment benefits, currently funded at 91%. Again, very fiscally solid. And our audits are clean annually. We just had our most recent annual audit came into the governing board in the month of February, once again ensuring that we do as we promise to our communities. I will just share one thing with you. We are getting ready to move into some slightly challenging times. We have not been receiving essentially cost of living adjustments in our district based on the funding model provided to us by our state. And we are looking at slight reductions in our employee base. So we certainly want you to hear it first from us rather than hear it through social media and other means. We just last month, the board took action to reduce 3 management positions across our 3 colleges and 2 faculty positions across our 3 colleges. This month, we will be taking to the governing board a reduction of 10 classified personnel. Some of whom will actually land in other positions. But again, we really want to ensure that we are very clear and provide you our full financial picture as we share the content of this presentation with you. And now I am going to turn it over to Ms. Inez Zildzik, who is going to tell you a little bit more about our bond programs.
Thank you, Moshe. Now I can speedy through the slides. Thank you, everybody, for having us here. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of our bond measure that we're currently implementing and also a look forward as to our future facilities needs. So as you can see on the slide, thanks to our amazing community support, we have had a bond measure in 2002 that's clearly closed out, a measure A plus in 2006 that we completed close out as well. And where we are focusing is really measure E 2014 bond measure. So moving over with that, we are approximately 90% spent from 2014 Measure E. We are focusing on our last major capital improvement project at Diablo Valley College, which is our engineering technology building. Very excited for that. It is about 20% in construction. So if you ever run our campus and wish to see the construction site, please reach out. We'd be more than happy to share. We have a number of small improvement projects that we're wrapping up as far as classroom improvements and some of the student spaces, and are looking to wrap up the bond measure in the next couple of years. The last authorization of $110 million were sold in 2022. And we continue to have strong ongoing bond rating from both S&P and Moody's. We've also, as a measure of fiscal stewardship, refinanced our prior bond sales, and you can see here for $402 million, and successfully saving taxpayers $44 million. As far as the Measure E bond program, we are very excited to have completed our annual bond report. This is part of our bond oversight committee's work as well. We have included the link here so you can take a look at our report. And of course, you can also use your devices to access it easier. Really, we're so proud of the work that we have been working on. Up here, you can actually see some renderings of the engineering technology facility that I have mentioned that will be housing our architecture, some of our key CTE programs at DVC. Moja talked about earlier a little bit about our robotics and Tesla program. So this new facility will be providing spaces for programs such as that. And I know our DVC users are super excited to be able to occupy this facility in 2027. The bond report will also give you a preview of sort of what's been happening at Contra Costa as well as Los Medanos College as we wrap up some of projects at those 2 college sites as well. So let's take a look at a little bit of a forward-looking facilities planning consideration. We started talking about our remaining needs probably in 2022, even though Measure E has made such significant improvements on our campuses. we started to take a look at our remaining facilities through what we call a facilities condition index. The colleges, kind of fast forward 2 years later, completed their facilities master plans in 2024. And that included a prioritization of projects based on facilities condition index, as well as the educational and facility needs. Some of the key kind of big picture considerations when we develop these plans, we're really talking about right sizing our campuses, where we are not growing, but we are trying to think through how we could replace our facilities to make sure that they are future ready and that we are providing flexible, adaptable spaces, much like what Moja had talked about earlier. We are going to be embarking, hopefully, on a number of modernizations and also new construction via replacement of the older facilities that we have deemed as at the end of their useful life. You'll soon see a couple of photos of some of our campus facilities that are slated for replacement due to the condition. We're also really focusing on our infrastructure upgrades. We are focusing on building systems, including, of course, HVAC and building controls, and also making sure that our future facilities have adequate basic infrastructure for future build outs. We all know the building codes are changing. Our 2025 building code has just been updated to reflect more of a nod towards electrification. We have been long preparing for that. So we are completely ready to be able to provide those types of spaces and infrastructure upgrades. With that in mind, I'm really proud to say that our governing board has approved our 2035 district-wide sustainability goals in 2022. They really serve as a framework and at the core of what we do on all of our facility projects, as well as district-wide when we talk about integrating sustainability into all facets of our operations. I will not spend time describing all 9 of our goals, but I do want to highlight that really what we call on my teams and also the colleges sort of an umbrella goal is the greenhouse gas reductions, simply because in order to get to this goal, we need to decrease our EUI, which is the energy intensity index, which means really decreasing the amount of energy that we're using, but being smart in our first time costs so that we can have lower, longer term costs. And then, of course, I'm also very proud that under Measure E bond program and for all of our future facilities, we're looking to have all of the new buildings zero net energy and zero carbon. So those are just some of our highlights of our sustainability goals. And our colleges also work with us and our teams on their own academic integration of sustainability measures. So let's talk a little bit about the facilities planning considerations. I wanted to share with you that we really focused on what I mentioned earlier, the facilities condition index, really highlighting some of our most dire facilities. Here you'll see the images at the Apple Valley College. This is our early childhood education facility. And to the right is our LA building, liberal arts, which houses about 70 to 80% of our major classrooms and student support spaces. These 2 facilities have been deemed to be at the end of their useful life. You can see these lovely little boxes. These are our very aged HVAC units, and almost on a daily basis, we get calls from our colleges about repairs to either dry rot or to HVAC units, or a combination of both. Our ECE facility here is, of course, very aged, so our facilities plan has identified replacement of this facility through having a new building provided for the ECE programs, and then also a new academic complex building that will be replacing this facility along with 2 other ones that are in the same shape.
And just FYI, ECE, Early Childhood
Yes,
Education, colleagues.
thank you, thank you. Another highlight I wanted to share here is, as we think about how we can transform our spaces to be future ready, to be flexible, to be adaptable, here's some images from our Los Medanos College. This is our central utility plant with its original 1970s equipment. And this is an image of our welding lab. Welding lab that has a really strong need for program expansion. The users have been so fortunate and they've worked so hard to achieve and been granted additional funds to their grants to be able to purchase equipment to place them into this amazing welding lab. And what we were faced with is that we needed to provide some pretty significant electrical upgrades to just that one part of the lab in order to even be able to receive this equipment. Part of our facilities planning had taken this into consideration and is calling for expansion of our career tech programs, and the welding lab, along with the auto tech and along with the industrial design programs, is planned to be in a new career technology focused facility that would take care of some of the infrastructure needs that are not achievable within the existing college complex facility. And then wrapping up for Contra Costa College here, this is an image of our applied arts building. And then internally, some of the classrooms that we have, you can see that this is not in the AA building, but it's very commonly found where they have the tiered seating. It's one of those modalities that are really hard to be achieved in a tiered seating classroom. And so what we are looking to do is retrofit this facility into a nursing and EMT hub. There are some nursing classes and facilities that are offered in the facility that are not adequate at the moment. So we're looking to expand that and consolidate some of the programs that are dispersed on campus at Contra Costa College and ensure that we are ready for the future needs in this very facility. So our facilities plan calls for a nursing and EMT facility at Contra Costa College. And with that in mind, I'm going to turn it over to our trustee Barrett to bring us to conclusion.
Bring us home. Thank you, Inez. Thank you, Moshe, as well. So this is our last slide before we go to Q&A, and it is regarding future bonds and continued accountability.
Did we lose Rebecca?
She maybe.
Yeah.
I'm happy to jump in until we get Rebecca back. So
really deeply went into most of that.
Rebecca, we cut out for a little bit, and she's still
she's still cut out.
Because look at her face.
Okay.
So Chancellor, why don't you go and
Sure, happy to. So just wanted to share with you, so our governing board has been working with us on assessing really funding options associated with our facilities plan. We've been doing so over the past 4 or so years. I want to be really clear. Our board has been really amazing. They're the ones that wanted to ensure we have an up-to-date facilities plan. They then created an ad hoc committee, and actually the members of the ad hoc committee walked all of our facilities and assessed what was in the plan and looked at it with their very own eyes. They actually ensured that our academic senate leadership, our student senate leadership, and others are walking those spaces with them, and that they're hearing from both our employees, our faculty members, as well as our students firsthand on what they're experiencing within these facilities. And so as a result of all of that, and ensuring that we retain services from a financial analyst firm to ensure that we're really looking at this, and again, the most fiscally prudent manner, conducting a poll of our community, which we did just this past November, to assess community interest, and ensuring that the entire board is up to date on all that is being learned. The board finally, actually at their January governing board meeting, unanimously passed a resolution to place the bond on the June 2nd ballot. So we are very much looking forward to the passage of this bond, we hope. You'll note that the bond is for $920 million, which amounts to approximately $10 per $100,000 assessed value of homes in Contra Costa County. The bond will require 55%. That's the rate that's needed for passage. And the poll that was conducted in November shows that we are, frankly, on the bubble. We're just about the 56, 57%. What we have noticed, however, we had polled previously about a year and a half earlier. We had conducted two separate polls earlier, as we had initially planned on going on the November 2024 ballot. We elected not to go on the November 2024 ballot because there were, at the time, lots of competing bond measures that appeared to be kind of in conversation there, including multi-county kind of tax measures as well. Ultimately, it didn't come to fruition. And regardless, at this point, we believe it is kind of the most prudent time for us before we wind down the existing bond, ensure we continue the path forward and move towards the accountability and the work that's needed for us to ensure our facilities are there to train the leaders of tomorrow. And that ends our presentation. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, maybe we could, oh, perfect. All right, so who has Ed? Are you raising your hand? You can come off mute and ask the first question. And if you have other questions, think about it and come off mute.
Okay, so first two compliments. My 41-year-old daughter is enrolled in DVC to finish her education. She's slightly challenged, and we're amazed at all the individual help she's getting. So thank you. My mother also finished her studies and got her 2-year degree at DVC. My question is, my day job is representing employers who want to move into this area, and they're finding a lack of qualified tech workers. So as opposed to 4 degrees or 2 degrees, 2 years in college. Now, I know DVC is ramping up, but are they going to accelerate 1 year and 6 month certificates for various skill sets? That's my question.
It's a great question, Ed. And yes, absolutely. So what the colleges have and are continuing to build, what we call stackable certificates. So providing opportunities for individuals to learn a skill set that they can employ today and utilize that certificate for more immediate employment and continue to come back and train and build on that knowledge base through a series of stackable certificates. And ultimately, frankly, I will just say those certificates ultimately lead both to associate degrees and transfer pathways, should those be of interest. Thank you.
Okay. Who has another question? If not, I have to ask them all.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Mojda, you mentioned the polling aspect of it. I know you mentioned the specific numbers. Could you repeat again where the bond is polling right now?
Yeah, so our poll was conducted in November, so it's a fairly recent poll. And we are at 56%. Okay. Certainly we know that there are issues around affordability in our county. We've certainly heard that. We also recognize that education is also a solution to opportunities for affordability. And so we really are focused on ensuring that information is well represented to our communities and taxpayers.
And kind of my follow-up to that is, we don't have an official position yet, but if we were, or if other organizations were to try to be supportive of this campaign, what kind of messaging would be especially helpful in terms of your success, helping with that polling?
Mojda, can I jump in with this? Assuming my Wi-Fi holds. Sorry, everybody. So it's 56%. My recollection of the poll is it's 56% with full and complete information. It's actually ironically higher with less information at times. So I think one of the things that polled really well, and what we saw the community really respond to, is our emphasis on education for careers, and that we are the accessible option for all different types of students. When we're talking about accessibility and pathways for people to get to college to earn more and be productive members of society, we're in a really good frame. When we're talking about really the success of our career technical program, so fire safety, EMT, nursing, all of the partnerships that we do around the refineries and our auto mechanic work, really good framing. And to be honest with you, you all are really good messengers in helping validate that for us. It's one thing for the higher ed folks to be like, we think we do this really well. But to have the business community say, no, really, they do this really well. We use their students. This is the pipeline for us. I think that would be very, very powerful. If folks are interested in getting more involved, we certainly many of us are volunteering on the campaign in our off time. I have a little bit more freedom as a trustee, but we are more than happy to get you any type of materials that you would like around messaging. And if you would like to be more involved in going out to specific communities, we're very happy to provide you the support to empower you to do that.
And one of our amazing volunteers is here with us today, Eric Zell, who also serves on the East Bay Leadership Council.
We try not to acknowledge Eric in these rooms, though. We don't want it to go to his head.
Now you're gonna make me
so
talk, Jared.
I'll ask a question. Past the campuses, have you considered using existing infrastructure in terms of buildings that are vacant in some of our downtown areas, like Walnut Creek, Concord have 20% office vacancies? And could those be less expensive than just building a whole new building and tearing one down on campus?
I think that's a complicated question in some ways. So let me give you an example. We shared with you that we are partnering, for example, with San Ramon Valley Fire because they have built a state-of-the-art training facility. It would make obviously absolutely no sense for us to try to replicate that. At the same time, I think we also have to be mindful about building a campus culture where our students and our communities, and this is what we're hearing regularly from our students, they need to be in a space and place where they gain a feeling of belonging. And a lot of that happens by the kinds of clubs, activities, social settings that we design and implement with and for our students. And so kind of being mindful of that makes us, I think, reflect more on where and how we potentially provide those spaces for our students to connect. Does that mean that we don't believe that we should also be out in the community offering classes? Absolutely not. We believe that's necessary as well. And we believe creating a space and place for students to come to and get all of those kind of wraparounds that are necessary is also deeply important and impactful.
And I'll use this to jump off maybe a little bit of an elephant in the room when we're talking about higher education facilities. I'll treat. I had an experience with an elected official a couple of years back when we were opening our arts building, which is my background. It's our brand new arts facility at DVC. As someone who took classes at the old facility, I'm very excited about the new facility. But this elected official came up to me, and I think it was like 2022. So again, we're just getting out of COVID. And she made a comment of like, my nephew takes online classes. I never want to hear about another bond ever again. And I do want to acknowledge the frame that's in people's minds of like online classes take the place of physical classrooms. I think we have been very proactive and very thoughtful about how we have maintained online courses post-COVID. Many districts set a designated percentage. We really kept the track of we will open up both online and in person, and which ones fill up are which we will teach. That has created a lot of extra work on the administrative side and on the faculty side, but it has allowed the students to really drive what we provide. And what we have now seen is kind of an equilibrium balance out of 40% online, 60% in person, But similar to the myth of like, what is the age of our average student? I want to kind of challenge the myth of online means they never set foot on campus. Online courses are really great kind of gateway, easy accessible courses, particularly for working adults, to get in the door for higher education. We are also, though, as an institution, really focused on student success and completion. And what we have seen is that is deeply and intricately tied to what the chancellor was saying, the students' experience and the community that they are able to build. And so, even when a student is taking an online course, we are working really to bring them on campus to take that online course. And so you need the facilities to help facilitate that, i.e., what I just experienced with lack of Wi Fi. And so, like, we really try to be thoughtful about how education and good pedagogy has changed so drastically, even in the last decade. The photo that Inez showed of a lecture facility, the sage on a stage teaching out, what we've really heard from employers is actually that a lot more students need what we would call soft skills. No one's getting a certificate in this, but communication, team building, leadership. You don't learn that from a sage on a stage platform. You learn that by working in groups. And so even if you are in person, we are really looking at reorienting our physical facilities to meet those new educational needs. And for our online courses, reorienting our physical space to bring them on campus so they're building a sense of community and belonging. And then honestly, we can provide more support for their success. The tutoring services, campus food and housing assistance, our foundation assistance, all of that is much easily accessible if we can get them to step foot on campus. And so even if you start online, we are working diligently to try and pull students onto campus because it's so tied with their success.
Also,
And
can I say just add Jared team? I think I know that Dr. Monica Chahal is also in conversations with our business partners about potential open spaces that exist in the city of Concord and others. So I just want to be clear that that's also something that we are looking at. It is a yes and.
And a shout out on those soft skills, because on behalf of a client, Visit Walnut Creek, Jim Blair, who I know is on here from DVC, we've been working in the hospitality sector and business school to help create some curriculum around those soft skills, interpersonal skills, how to look up instead of being at your phone. So we appreciate all of that support at DVC. Any other questions from the group? Eric.
I don't have a question, Jared, but if there are no more questions, I know you're running out of time. Since I'm wearing multiple hats on this call, I'd like to see if we can move support for the item, recommend it to the full board. Full just, I don't know if it's a time for that.
Yeah,
Jared.
I can jump in here.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Eric. So with our policy platform now, we're not really taking positions within the task force. This is a great place for discussion, and this has been very helpful for me in starting to do that process. But I need to do the full analysis with our policy platform, and then we'll be able to make a decision with the board. But yeah, I mean, all of this has been really helpful and great, and it seems like there's a lot of like great information about it, and we will also be sure as we develop our official position to be reaching out to our partners like you and everyone in this task force, to make sure we have the most informed decision we can.
No, appreciate that. It's a June election, right? Ballots are going to drop soon. It's important that the business community weigh in. Ballot arguments will be written like now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, all that, but a prolonged process that brings it to the board in, in May isn't good. Not that you're suggesting that.
Yeah.
Won't be all that helpful. We expect the Taxpayers Association, by the way, to either be neutral at worst and possibly supportive at best, to give you an idea of their view of the accountability and how the districts manage their finances. with prior bond measures up to this point.
Yeah.
So, and because we are sort of on the bubble, and I don't know if this was mentioned, but there may also be a sales tax countywide on the ballot at the same time.
Yep.
It's important that we get as much early support as possible. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful. And hearing, support from you and the emphasis on the business community aspect is definitely helpful for us. And I agree on the timeline. We're that's why we wanted to make sure we had these conversations in both our health and infrastructure task forces so soon, was that we could get this information and get rolling on a decision. So that's the goal, and hopefully we'll be able to do that soon.
Do you know when it'll come to the full board, Meg?
So it'll depend whether if it fits neatly within our policy platform, we don't even need to take it to the board since the
Oh,
board
okay.
has already approved the platform. So it's just going to be deciding whether that's true. If it doesn't, then we would bring it to at the next board meeting. But I have to do that analysis to figure out.
I see.
Yeah.
And then you bring that to the task force and say you looked at the policy and you make a recommendation as to whether it meets the policy, or do you just do that
The
laterally?
So the task force is helpful in making our official decision. So we would be like having these discussions here, reaching out to our task force leadership, who are experts on the issues, to have those conversations. And then once the staff analysis is done, that it fits within our policy platform, then we can go forth and do our advocacy.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other last minute questions? I know we're at time here.
You can always reach out to us as well, colleagues. I think you have my email, just in case you don't. Easy, Mojdeh, Mojdeh, at 4cd.edu. Always happy to chat and answer any further questions you may have.
Great. Well, thank you all for being here and so many guests. You brought the full house from your team, so I appreciate all of you from the Community College District and all the work you're doing. So thank you very much, and we will see you next month. Thank you, everyone.
See you
Thank you.
all.
Thank
Thank you all
you.
so much.